how about in terms of the material? Because obviously, Album One Alive is the tour. You guys will be touring the full debut record for the anniversary. As you've gone through this process, I wonder, how does the material sort of sit with you as you continue to go over it again?
Well, when I said we started for real in January, one of the things that we did was we went into a rehearsal room, and a lot of times you have to do what we call arena eyes something. In other words, you record it one way, but then when you go to reproduce it, doesn't translate the same. And sometimes you have to make some modifications, little stuff that the audience will never notice, but it makes a huge difference in the overall sound as to the intensity of it. I mean, because in reality, rock and roll is big and it's bombastic and it's over the top. And if you've recorded things where there's subtleties on it, on a record, sometimes those subtleties don't translate, so, you have to really, take that into consideration and iron all that stuff before you even make an announcement for the tour. Because if you don't, you run your mouth off and then you find, that you go to try to make a reality and it doesn't work.
Right.
So it helps to
So
have done your homework way ahead of time.
no, definitely. I mean, what have you found, Blackie, has been the most challenging part so far for this tour? Is it actually making sure that the music is going to fit sort of all in a row in a live show, or has it been the actual visual aspects of the show and the sort of
It's the
production in that
visual.
way?
And
The visual.
yeah, it's usually the visual because when you get into prop building and stuff like that, I mean, the meeting that I just got out of just a second ago was all about that. So what we're doing in this show is we're doing it. The first half of the show will be the first album One Alive. It will be the first album in its entirety from beginning to end. And then we'll take a short break. And then we'll come back and we'll do the second part of the show, which will be kind of like a best of. But in that first half of the show, it's going to look like a combination of what the first album cover looked like, and also if anybody ever saw pictures of that first tour, it's going to be a kind of a combination of the two. But what we're doing is the reason that this is visually so much work is because there's going to be a part in the beginning or a part in that first part of this show where that album cover literally comes alive.
Oh, wow.
And it's pretty detailed. And like I said, there's a lot of hands involved on this right now to get that thing to come to reality the way we're envisioning it. But when people see it, it's going to blow their minds. I mean, it's really, really cool.
No, it sounds really exciting. Obviously going through this process, there's going to be a point I would imagine where it's going to feel somewhat cathartic. And the reason I say, there might be a point coming up is I'm wondering if you've reached that point yet. Is it a situation where putting this together is so much work that you don't have time to think about, the nostalgia of it, or is it a situation where as you work on it, you feel that?
I think it's a little of both,
Okay.
because, it's, as you're doing it, that stuff starts to reveal itself. And, it's, like I said, you're right. It's a process, so, it reveals itself as you go along.
For sure. How about in terms of the other band members? What's been the feedback on this project as you guys are putting it together? How do you feel the band morale is surrounding the tour?
Great. I mean, they were with me just a second ago, going through all of this, so everybody's got their ideas and, how we think it should look. And, the more brain power you can get in any situation like this, the better off you're going to be, because you literally start ping ponging ideas around the room. And when you do that, if you've got creative people, you come up with some pretty good ideas.